No time to read every book? We break down hundreds of pages into just a few minutes, covering every core idea. Written in 1938, but kept hidden for more than 70 years, Outwitting the Devil is one of Napoleon Hill's most controversial work. Presented as a conversation with the devil himself, the book explores the hidden forces that keep people from reaching their potential. The manuscript remained unpublished until 2011, when it was finally released by his family. Without further ado, let's dive in. In Chapter 1, Napoleon Hill recounts his pivotal 1908 meeting with Andrew Carnegie, who challenged him to spend 20 years organizing the world's first philosophy of achievement. Carnegie suggested that Hill must analyze the thousands who fail as well as the few who succeed, as more is often learned from failure than success. Carnegie introduced the concept of an other self, a hidden force that typically only emerges during times of extreme emergency and adversity when a person is forced to think their way out of difficulty. Hill accepted the challenge, noting that a man is never quite so near success as when overtaken by what he calls failure. Chapter 2 details Hill's own descent into despair and his struggle with the worst of all human ailments, indecision. During a period of intense personal crisis, Hill experienced a mental awakening where his other self emerged and gave him specific orders to complete his philosophy of achievement. He discovered that the body is occupied by two distinct entities, one motivated by fear and the other by faith. By following his inner voice and ignoring self-imposed mental limitations, Hill secured the means and the publishers required to bring his work to the public. In Chapter 3, Hill begins a direct interrogation of the devil, who identifies himself not as a physical beast, but as negative energy residing in the minds of those who fear him. The devil insisted on being addressed as Your Majesty, boasting that he controls 98% of humanity. He confessed that he and his opposition, the force humans call God, are equal and balanced forces of negative and positive energy. He maintains his power by sowing the 6 basic fears: poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. Chapter 4 defines the devil's most effective tool for gaining control as the habit of drifting. A drifter is someone who refuses to use their own mind, allowing outside circumstances and the devil's influence to dictate their life. The devil explained that he uses environment, parents, school teachers, and religious instructors to destroy a child's capacity for independent thought before they reach the age of reason. By confusing young minds with unprovable ideas and the fear of hell, he ensures they remain his permanent property. In Chapter 5, the devil continues his confession, admitting he is powerless against those who have discovered and taken charge of their own minds. He revealed that he uses various bribes, specifically sex, money, vanity, food, and the desire to get something for nothing, to lure individuals into the drifting habit. While he uses failure to break a person's morale, he admitted that every defeat contains the seed of an equivalent advantage for non-drifters. Chapter 6 introduces hypnotic rhythm, a natural law that solidifies and makes habits permanent. The devil explained that if he can induce a person to drift on any subject long enough, nature's rhythm takes over that habit, making the person his permanent prisoner. However, this law also works for the non-drifter by making their positive thought habits permanent through the law of attraction, which translates dominating thoughts into their physical equivalent. In Chapter 7, the devil asserted that humans possess a prerogative right to use their own minds, which is the only direct road to infinite intelligence. He maintains control only because people neglect this right and instead fill their minds with negative thoughts. He confessed to fearing real thinkers, who understand that the time they spend in fear could, if reversed, give them everything they desire in the material world. Chapter 8 identifies the first step to freedom as definiteness of purpose. Being definite in one's aims and plans closes the door of the mind to the devil's influence. The devil admitted he cannot control anyone who has a definite plan and refuses to accept anything but success, as definiteness allows an individual to utilize hypnotic rhythm for positive ends. In Chapter 9, Hill offers a critique of education and religion, stating that they currently aid the devil by teaching children to memorize facts rather than use their minds. The devil provided a roadmap for educational reform, suggesting that schools should instead teach self-determination, time management, and the value of experience. He admitted that if students were taught to express their own thoughts fearlessly, his kingdom would eventually collapse. Chapter 10 focuses on self-discipline, the second principle for outwitting the devil. The devil confessed that an individual must master 3 specific appetites to maintain self-control: the desire for food to keep the body sewer clean and the brain functioning, the desire for sex expression, transmuting it into creative energy, and the desire to express uninvited or loosely organized opinions. Chapter 11 explains that learning from adversity is the third principle of success. The devil revealed that failure is a man-made state of mind that often serves as a blessing in disguise by breaking the grip of a negative hypnotic rhythm. Every adversity contains the seed of an equivalent advantage, forcing individuals to discover their other self and test their mental strength. In Chapter 12, Hill outlines the final principles: environment, carefully choosing associates; time, allowing habits to ripen into wisdom; harmony, aligning with nature's laws; and caution, carefully thinking through plans before acting. The book concludes with the core idea that dominating desires can be crystallized into physical reality through definiteness of purpose backed by persistence. Hill concludes that success is the result of day-to-day forces weaving dominating thoughts into physical reality. By discovering the other self and maintaining definiteness of purpose, one crystallizes desires into reality. Ultimately, you are the judge of this confession. Your only real limitations are those you set up in your own mind. Take absolute charge of the only power you truly control: thought.